All right, guys, we're back with a special episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast. Not only do we have one guest today, we have two, which is kind of unusual, but hey. So I want to introduce a good friend of mine. This is Tim. Say hello.
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 Here we go.
Here we go. And as you may or may not remember, this is my little kitten, Melissa.
Hi.
And today we wanted to do something kind of out of the norm. We wanted to have a conversation with our friend Tim because he's not in the lifestyle. And so we kind of want to have like an outsider's perspective. He's going to ask questions. We're just going to have a nice little conversation. So that way people who don't do this on a normal basis or who are not involved in it at all, hopefully Tim's come prepared to ask the questions that you want to know. I mean, us in the lifestyle, we don't always think about what we thought when we were not in the lifestyle, and there are some of us that have always been in the lifestyle, so we don't have that outsider's perspective. So that's what Tim is. He's going to bring that perspective, and you see the look of fear on him. So be prepared for anything. This could go very well, or it could derail very quickly. Especially if Barry White gets involved, but hopefully we'll not deal with that.
No,
You
Barry.
just touched my tummy.
What?
Right.
Is that allowed?
I'll allow it.
Okay. I have your consent. It's on video.
Exactly.
Can I ask why you did that?
Why did I touch his stomach?
Yeah.
Because I
It's
have
a sexy stomach.
What's that?
Yeah.
I have very OCD tendencies, and when I see something, I have to address
fuzz.
it.
What she's trying to say is she saw a fuzzy,
And
Yes.
she had to get it off.
and she had to get it.
Yeah.
So
She had to get it off or get
get off.
off.
Oh!
That kind
Anyway.
of works in the. I'm just saying.
We're not
Okay.
there.
No.
Just so you know, me and Tim have another podcast that we do about Prince, so don't be surprised if we make some Prince references here. But anyway,
Yeah.
so shall we try to get this
Shall
started
we
for
begin?
Shall we begin?
We shall.
What would you like
What
to
would-
know?
What is it that, from an outsider's perspective, let's start this conversation off, man. Start asking questions, man. What do you want to know? What do you think they want to know? Okay, that's the end of this podcast.
I'm thinking,
Well,
man.
well.
I'm thinking, man.
Master is uncomfortable with silence.
No,
just so
I
you
just
know.
well, when you have an audio podcast, and there's silence,
Yeah.
how would you feel like listening to a radio station when there's nothing on it?
It happens because you have to think.
Well, then be quiet because you're complaining because Master doesn't like the silence. Just. Hey.
Someone's gonna get whooped here, and they gonna be her.
So, was it what made you decide, hey, this is my choice I mean, was it like a choice or was it just like a feeling that you wanted to get into this, I don't know, lifestyle? Is that what you would call it? I don't know. I mean,
You can call it what I mean. Yeah, we call it a lifestyle.
okay. So was it like a, man, that just sounds interesting, sounds good. Let me try that. Or was it more of a feeling like, man, I heard, like to get smacked in the butt or something, Was it something like that? I mean, what made you to do
Well,
that?
For me, there is interest. Being a woman, I like to read, romance, smut type of thing. And as much as I really don't want to admit this, I have to acknowledge the fact that 50 Shades of Grey was really what opened up the idea for me that it was okay, even though it's not a good representation of the lifestyle because it's abuse. There's no consent there.
Arguably, I mean, there are some people that really stand up for that, but
This is my perspective.
yeah.
So,
I'm with you.
for me, it was something that I wanted to explore, but there was a lot of fear that was associated with that because we've not done that kind of stuff before. There was fear around what Master would think. There was fear around acknowledging that that was something that I wanted to do. Like, was there something wrong with me? There was fear around what other people would think. That, you know, when you're coming from a Christian standpoint, there's a lot of taboo. And then you start thinking about the legalities of, you know, my husband beating me, quote unquote. If there's marks that need to be explained, if you're in the doctor's office. So, once I understood within myself that it was something that I was really drawn to explore, presenting it to him, talking about it. There's a lot of communication about it.
But yeah, it was a shock at first, though.
Oh, it was.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You did
I
not?
cut
No,
people
this-
off a lot.
he does.
As you.
That's okay.
That's how conversations work.
That's where we get very white.
That's where very white comes
Yeah.
from. Nah, it was, and before I answered that, I want people to understand. When we asked Tim to come do this, this is a very uncomfortable situation for him to be in.
Very much so.
I want you to know, and I want you to know how much we appreciate you doing this. You know, because I know how uncomfortable it is for you. You know, we've had conversations numerous times about whether or not we're even going to do this episode. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for doing it. Tim's been my friend since we were in diapers. I mean, we've known each other forever. So I'm sure it came as a shock to him when we threw this at you.
Yeah, buddy.
You know? But when it's really weird because when you get approached, and it's not, I don't know if there's really a typical way that it happens. That it's not like she just came to me one day and said, you know what? I want to be your slave and I want you to beat my butt until it's red and choke me and pull my hair. It was a lot of little conversations.
Okay.
A lot of them. And it started, I remember, and here's the thing, I can't even really pinpoint when it started, because when I go back and I look at our life through the, 30 plus years we've been together, there's little things that have happened. And I know you're uncomfortable being here, but you're going to hear a lot of things that you did not know.
All right.
La, 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 la.
Where's my Prince music?
Yeah.
Do we have your consent?
But you go back and you look at things through your life and you realize, oh, well, we did this, like I remember playing with ice cubes, 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of a sign that, maybe you're into something a little more,
Okay. Little freaky, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of little conversations, but when it really hit, I remember we were doing a lot of traveling for my job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she decided, she's like, hey, I want to get this. It was called a beginner BDSM kit. It was one of the dumbest. It was like $50, and it comes with these cheap handcuffs, a cheap little flogger, I mean, it really is beginners. And so she bought that, and it was after she had read, the movie wasn't out yet, I don't think. She had just read 50 Shades. And
I've never seen it.
the movie,
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of them. But I know they made it big, I guess.
I enjoyed them for what they were. It was very erotic. It was very
The movie or the books?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it a yes for both?
Yes.
Okay. Because that was a big yes at the last yes, so
Yeah.
I figured.
Yes.
So, I mean, we started with that, and there was no understanding of anything, there was no dom sub. It was just BDSM. There was no power exchange relationship per se.
Okay.
And we tried that, and she liked it, and then it kind of went away for, I don't know, about a year or two, if maybe not longer. And then it hit hard and heavy, man. I don't know what it was, but it hit hard and heavy, and then the conversations really picked up. So that's how it happened for us. I'm sure there's a million different stories for everyone out there. Like I said, some people have been in it their whole lives.
I feel like we missed out.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
So I find it very odd, outside looking in, when I'm talking to you, you'd be like, yeah, master, da 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 da. Not, Pat, master. I find that very weird. Are you okay? Like,
It took a little getting used to.
okay.
So this journey that we're on together now started with her. This was not a me saying, hey, this is what I want.
Right.
And that kind of screwed things up for us at the beginning. I've talked about this on a previous episode, and that we almost got a divorce. Things kind of went awry for us. And a lot of that was because she wanted it. I was like, okay, you tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. As a good husband, that's what I wanted to do, was give her what she wanted.
Right.
The problem was what she wanted was for me to take the lead on this. And I wasn't doing that, which is what led to the problems.
Which is weird because you are a leader.
I can, when I, so let's kind of look at it in a different way. When you're a good leader, you can lead people. However, you need to have some sort of experience. Like, I'm not going to get on an aircraft carrier and try to lead these guys in how to sail that boat. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I may be the best leader in the world, but if I don't understand that ship and what it needs to do to work properly,
Okay.
your leadership don't mean anything. I did not understand this world at all because at the time, me from the outside looking in, I thought that whole world was just a bunch of freaks, and
Yes.
it's a very common
Freaky people.
Didn't she?
I accept it.
Yeah.
It's a very common misperception about what the world and the lifestyle is really about. And that's kind of why we're doing this podcast, is to try to educate people on the misconceptions about it.
And hopefully save their marriages before it even tanks.
Well, not just marriages, but relationships and self. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
gotta,
God.
I mean, I remember the trauma you were going through, just within yourself.
Yeah, it
Trying
was
to
really
accept
hard.
things.
I was having a lot of mental struggles because,
You think, oh, something's wrong with me.
yeah, what's wrong with me? Is this okay? Am I weird?
Well,
And then
you're weird.
and then you throw in, what is this going to do to my marriage? How do I approach the bisexuality? How do I incorporate that into an established relationship? Yeah, there's a lot of struggles. First, accepting that was part of who I am. That was hard.
To finish the story, though, her calling me master was a long time. It wasn't something that happened right away. In fact, through the struggles with our marriage, we were unsure where anything was going to go with our marriage, let alone this relationship, the power exchange relationship.
And I'm assuming she probably had, at that point, different names than Master for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
not as nice ones.
There you go.
And at one point, when we finally were on the way out of all that crap that we were going through and decided we were going to, she wanted to be collared, she started calling me sir. And that was a little weird, but not quite as bad because, when you meet someone, oh, nice to meet you, sir. So it wasn't quite as bad.
And then you get the people that grew up with service.
So
Right.
for me,
It's
it was
always-
easy because being
it's
in the
always
military,
ma'am and sir,
and Southern.
and she was adamant, just adamant. I remember when we were talking about this, when we first, like I said, we're on the way out. We're coming to a healthy place in our marriage and in our relationship. And she's like, I'm going to try calling you sir. And she said it felt natural. And she's like, but don't ever, ever expect me to call you master.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
When I make absolutes
Just
like that,
say yes, kitten.
yes. But when I make absolutes like that,
God smacks you.
it usually smacks me right in the rear and not in a good way.
So it was very weird when she first started calling me master. And when she first started doing it, it was very only when we were together or only in lifestyle environments. It wasn't outside of anything. And now she just does it all the time. She hardly ever calls me anything else now.
A lot of it for me is we've established that this is a 24/7 power exchange. So that means he's master 24/7.
Right.
So it's just a natural progression of how we've evolved and learned and adjusted. I am cognizant of being in certain types of environments to not do that.
Okay.
Out of respect for other people.
Yes,
Okay.
because they have not consented to
To our life.
our lifestyle. So that's really important. When you come into my home,
But we're going to bring you along for the ride here.
yeah.
You're getting it all.
You ain't got no choice.
When you come into my home, it's
You're coming into our environment.
it's just what we do. And so, I'm in this sounds silly, but my natural habitat. So it is natural for me to call him master. And that's out of respect for who he is and the man that he is now.
Okay. I like that. So don't take this the wrong way. What I'm about to say.
Okay.
Okay. Remember when you first started talking to me about this lifestyle that you guys chose, right? I wanted to ask you so bad because I started thinking, man, this chick is whack. Okay?
Okay, but you've been saying that about her for the last 30 plus
But
years.
look,
All right, so I think we're gonna cut this here, and we'll just end on that subject, and then we'll pick it up on the next episode. We'll continue this interview, and hopefully you'll tune in for that. So until next time, take care of each other. God bless.